All right, so we're going to go ahead and get ready to begin our 7xx project. A focus on multimedia and some of the things that we can do and have fun with as web developers in the multimedia world. So we're going to go ahead and start out by, of course, creating our repository. We'll go to GitHub and create your repository. Don't really care under what organization or whatever, just make sure you create a repository called 7xx so you can line up with the videos. And so we'll go ahead with that. We'll leave it public, and of course we'll initialize it with a readme file, and we'll go ahead and we'll say create repository. Inside there we got our repo, we created the readme file. The only other thing that we probably want to do at this moment so that it's ready when we want to use it is go to settings, and we'll set up our GitHub Pages a while. And the way that we do that is under settings, we go to GitHub Pages and we tell the source that we want it to be master branch, and then we save that. And what that'll do for us is whatever's on our master branch, provided it doesn't need a database, local database, it will actually serve that web page out for us. And we can see that by going to this link. And I doubt it's ready yet. It usually takes a little while for it to bake up and warm up and get going. Great. So now we have that all created, and we'll go out, we'll take a look, check out our 7xx repo out here, and it's all good. Everything looks great. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to clone it down to our site. So we'll click on the download and we'll copy that link. And now what we want to do is we want to open up Cmder, or whatever you're using. We use Cmder. We want to get out to the root of our localhost folder, which is, for me, I'm on Winamp, so it's Winamp WAMP64/www, and I'm going to do a git clone and then paste that link in that it gave me, and then hit enter. At this point, it cloned down my repository. I'm able to go in and see that it's been cloned by just switching into the folder, the directory that I created, and we can see that I'm on master, and I can run a git status, and I can see that I'm all good to go as far as that goes. So now what I can do is, and also if another way to check that, by the way, is if you hit ls, it'll list the files inside the directory, and you can see that it brought that readme file down just as a little extra information for you. So the next thing that we want to do is go out to our Egevus hosting server and create a subdomain. So the way we do that, we log into our Egevus hosting panel. We go to My Domains, Hosted Domains. And we want to go ahead and create a subdomain. I'm going to create mine. Yours should be 7xx, and then it should be to your primary domain. And we'll go ahead and we'll add host. At this point, we have created our subdomain. And now that we've created our subdomain, let's go find it. Mine is right here. And we can see that we want to add an SSL to it. So the way that we do that is we come over here, and this is a free SSL. It's through something called Let's Encrypt. They're trying to make the web a safer world, and so providing SSL certificates. So let's go ahead and click on Edit Subdomain. And what we want is under the IP address, we want to go ahead and we want to select Available Shared IPs for SSL. And when we select that, yours may be different. When we select that, you'll notice that it goes ahead and it gives you a Let's Encrypt. So if we go ahead and we click Edit Host, I wish it said Save, but it's Edit Host, which is Save. It could take anywhere from a couple seconds to even a minute or two, and you just have to be patient and let it do what it's going to do, because it's literally going out and grabbing a certificate and installing it on the server and putting it there for you. So now if we expand our subdomains and we look, we'll see that we are now Let's Encrypt SSL. If you click on it and then you go out to your subdomain by clicking there to verify it, it doesn't always immediately become available. So you have to give it some time for it to bake, but that's okay. Don't worry if it's not there yet. You can keep coming back, but honestly, it could take minutes. It could even take hours. What we can do now, though, is while that's cooking, we'll go ahead and we'll go to Files and FTP Accounts. And what we want to do is we want to go ahead and create an FTP account for our domain that we're doing, and we'll go ahead and we'll create new FTP account. And we're going to use our usual student, and we have to select the subdomain student raccpass. The path is already set, which is great. And we can just add FTP account. At this point, our student FTP account has been created. I had to go to another page there. And what we do is we just go ahead and grab all that information. You can't right click and copy. You got to select and then Control C. And when you collect all that information, what it does is it positions you to grab all the information you need except for the password and define your site in Dreamweaver. So let's go ahead and let's define our site in Dreamweaver. All right. So we'll come out to Dreamweaver. We'll go to Site, New Site. And in here, we'll just put 7xx. We know that's the site we're going to build. We'll point our folder to 7xx, which is exactly where we know we want that site. And then we'll go in here to servers. And in servers, we're going to go ahead and we're going to add a new server. And we'll just paste that information up there. I always put the information as server minus the user, the student underscore. We'll paste that into student underscore 7xx, blah, 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 into our username. Our FTP address is the same as that. It's less the student. We'll put our password in there and we'll hit test. And we are connected to our server. We'll click OK. We'll click Save. And then we'll save out of that as well. It will open up our new site. And now we're in our new site, which is awesome. What we can do is go ahead and just make sure we're connected by viewing remote. And there's our remote. There's that marketing page that shows up out there on us. And here's our local. So now that we can see our remote and see our local and we're connected and we know we're good, what we want to do is just go ahead and right click on the readme file and open with Dreamweaver. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to take our newly created subdomain that we have, and we're going to put that in there as a link. That way from GitHub, we'll be able to click on it and be able to get to our production. We'll call this our production site, and we'll be good to go as far as that all goes. And so we'll save that and close the README file. And then what we're going to do is right click on our site root, and we're going to add an index file. And that's our index.html file. And we'll go ahead and we'll open that up, and you can see it's already put in a framework for our HTML5. Now with this, what we'll do is we'll go ahead and we're going to add in inside out bar 7xx, and we'll just put that in there, and then I'm going to copy that. We just want a little content in here to get things going. I'm going to go ahead and put an H1 in, and inside of that I'm going to put inside out 7xx, and that'll take care of that as well. And so now we can save that and close it. The next thing we want to do is we want to synchronize these files up, and we want to tell it to delete that XHTML file that's out there. So we'll highlight the site root and we'll hit synchronize. And we're telling it to get and put newer files and delete remote files. And we'll do a preview. And it's telling us it wants to put the index.html and the readme, and it's saying it wants to get that. That's because we did not select it correctly. That's okay though. We'll just highlight that. We'll hit the little trash can and say delete that. And before we hit OK, let's go take a peek real quick so that we understand what we're doing. I don't think our HTTPS is ready yet, but our HTTP is. So if we take off the HTTPS, we can see that that marketing file is there on our 7xx inside out. And if we hit OK, it's asking us if we really want to delete the selected file, and we're going to say yes. And at this point, we're done. So if we go and we look, our index and our readme's out there, and that XHTML is gone. And so now what we can do is we can go out here and refresh, and we can see that our information made it out there to the server. We'll take one more try at HTTPS. Refresh that. Not yet. That's okay. It'll take a while for it sometimes. So at this point, we are good as far as our defined site, our subdomain, and our GitHub repo, and our local Git repo. So what we want to do is go ahead and do our first commit and push. So we'll open up Cmder. And in Cmder, we'll do a git status, and we'll see that our readme file has been modified and that our index.html is added. And so we'll go ahead and do git add with the dot. That adds them all. So we'll do another status, and we see that they're all sitting there in staging and ready to go. And so now what we'll do is we'll go ahead and we'll do our first push out to GitHub. Well, our first commit, actually. I like to be consistent, so I'll look for my initial push, which is pretty far back. There's my merge. So first commit and push, 7xx inside out. We'll hit enter. Do a status. It's great. It says we're ahead of origin master by one commit, which makes sense. And if you look out here, you can see that our only commit, all we have in here right now is our readme file. So let's bring this back out, and let's go ahead and do a git push. So we're telling it, Git, we want you to push this branch to the origin, which is basically the address that we see in GitHub, and we want you to push the master branch out. And we say go. It asks me for my username. And then my password. It packages it up, sends it out, and we are good now. So let's go out and one last thing and validate. We can see that our index.html is pushed up. We can see our readme files there, and we can see the information that we've put in this, and our HTTPS is not ready yet. And then one last thing that we can do to validate is go ahead and validate on our GitHub Pages. Hopefully that's ready now, which it is. We can see that our GitHub Pages actually matches our non-secure, and we are ready to begin our inside out project 7xx.